Football is unsafe for brains. There are key words. Now it's writing. We'll see what it comes up with. This is a blog idea and an outline of an idea. Oh, now this is interesting. Use a 5-paragraph structure. Football is unsafe for brains. The dangers of concussions. Okay, it got that much. First paragraph, football is a dangerous sport for the brain due to the high rate of concussions. Fair. Number 2, concussions can lead to long-term brain damage, including chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE. 3, CTE can cause a variety of symptoms, including memory loss, depression, and dementia. Wonderful. 4th paragraph, football players are at a higher risk for concussions due to the nature of the game. 5th paragraph, there are ways to reduce the risk of concussions in football, but the sport will always be dangerous for the brain. Now, that's pretty darn good. And here's what I find very interesting, is it's using the standard classic 5-paragraph argument. Essay, if you will. What's the difference between a blog article and an essay? About 1,000 words. Now, when I was teaching at a university, a Jesuit university, of which there are not many, our students, freshman English, at the end of the semester had to pass a essay writing exam, and they were terrified of it. A lot of them did not have English as their first language, and if you did not score a certain amount of points above a standard deviation, you failed the course, and you could not move on with your academic life. I didn't like it. I didn't think it was effective. I thought it taught kids to wrote from memory. It didn't teach them the function and the purpose of writing. It taught them to mimic ideas. So what I would do with my students is say, look, this is how you outline an essay. And what they would do, you'd have a blue book. They'd have 300 kids in an auditorium. And they'd all be sitting there terrified, even the super duper confident ones, smart ones, terrified that their whole semester was riding on this one little exam. And the teachers who graded them really loved to fail students. It was weird. Oh, they're at a Catholic school. They know what they're in for. We teach reading and writing, and they're going to learn how to read and write. And then they would get the topic that they had to write on that day when they're sitting down. Here's the topic. They'd write it on the board. Go. You have, I think it was 45 minutes to write an essay, proofread it, hand it in, leave, get out. And good luck. Terrified. I was terrified. I was the teacher. I was terrified. So you realize, if you want to help your students, what you have to do the whole semester is prepare them for this final exam. All the other things, the readings, the conversation, all of that means nothing. Every week you've got to drill into them how to write a simplistic, tight, not necessarily fantastic, but effective essay to get them past so they can move on with their educational life. It was a big problem. So this is what I would teach them. I'd say, look, use a 5-paragraph essay outline. That's all you need. 5 paragraphs of 3 to 5 sentences. So you go 5 sentences times 5 paragraphs, 25 sentences. That's all you have to write in 45 minutes. The first paragraph sets up your argument. Football is dangerous. The second paragraph is evidence. The third paragraph is more evidence. The fourth paragraph, final evidence. The fifth paragraph, easiest one to write. You are summarizing everything you've already said. So the first And fifth paragraphs are really already written for you. You state what the argument is. I will prove it this way, take a point of view, take a stand. And then at the end, you just kind of summarize. Football concussions are bad, and they'll always be a part of the game. And in the middle, you have concussions can lead to brain damage. Next, CTE can cause a variety of symptoms. And for football players, naturally, because they hit each other all the time and their heads get hit, they're vulnerable. And then you don't stop at that one sentence. You have to build on the rest of that sentence. And I remember the first time, and so I drilled it into them. I said, look, and I had like 3 or 4 students who just couldn't get it. And their main first language was Spanish. And I said, look, come back. Stay after class if you want to. And the room is empty. We'll just drill it. And I'll give you a topic, and you just do a really fast outline. And that's all we'll do. We'll do the outline. And then, you can go home and think about it and bring it back the next day, and I'll look at it for you. So we did that. They were all very nervous. And the day of the exam, they showed up. And the title was Defend or Support the idea that there is enough parking on campus for students. Now, this was infamous because this was a urban core surrounded by regular homes. There was no place to park your car, and students could not find a parking place. Outraged about it. You couldn't buy a parking space, so you had to, park sometimes 3, 4, 5, 10 blocks away. And sometimes you're late for class. Sometimes you have to leave class. You have to move your car, depending on the day of the week. It was not metered parking either. It was, if you're parking on the wrong side of the street, you're going to get a ticket and get towed. It was a very real, terrifying moment for all of them. And in some ways, it was terrific because they knew what side of the argument they were on. There's not enough student parking. So I was very confident. My students looked at me. I gave them thumbs up. I said, you got this one because you know how you feel. There's not enough parking. I'm late for class. It makes me nervous. It might be free, but the heart-rending that it does while I'm worrying in class about if I'm going to make it to my next appointment because I have to race to my car is a problem. In conclusion, we need more campus student parking. I knew they could do it. I was writing it in my own head. And I don't want to say miraculously, but miraculously, all of my students passed, which I was told later never happens. There's always 1 or 2 that get nervous or that bomb or that just can't do it and they failed and they have to go through it all over again. And when you go through it all over again, the next semester, at the end of the semester, you have to, once again, sit down and write an essay like this. And I said, look, a 5-paragraph essay is the way to go. Introduction, conclusion, in between the sandwich, you have 3 things that you're defending that support your argument. And they did it. They worked it out. And I was so proud of them for overcoming their terror because I was just as scared as they were. Oh my, what's coming up next? Oh, more fun with AI? Okay, I'm all for that.